Hello and welcome to the Fourth Down Fiasco. Before we get into this week's episode, we want to shed light on the shooting that occurred this Wednesday in Kansas City at the Chiefs Super Bowl celebration, which at the time of this recording has taken the lives of 2 people and injured 22 more, including several children. While we are a football podcast, this directly affects the community of people that we seek to connect with, and at some point this violence has to stop. We're not going to sit up here and debate what response should be taken, as we ourselves are not experts in this field, but we do want to acknowledge this tragedy and say that some sort of change needs to take place, as this is the second mass shooting to occur during a sports parade within the past calendar year. Our thoughts and prayers are with the families affected, along with the Kansas City community as a whole. And I hate even having to say thoughts and prayers, because at some point only actions can fix this issue. But at this moment in time, that's really just all that we can offer as podcasters. So thank you. Let's get to the show.
Do you think you're playing football? Do you think you're playing football? Do you think you're playing football? You are showing me nothing.
Fires, Mike Sims, Walker, knocked down.
Oh my God! Davis is going running all the way back. Auburn's going to win the football game.
In trouble, he's going to be sacked. No, gets away. He runs, gets away again, goes to the 40, gets away again.
Jackson takes it himself. Look at him turn back and forth. Oh! He broke his ankles.
I have never seen this before in my life.
Still looking. Firing. Near corner. It's caught!
Denver! Unbelievable!
Welcome to the Fourth Down Fiasco!
Hello and welcome to the Fourth Down Fiasco, your go-to podcast for an in-depth exploration of all things football. Each week we dissect the highs and lows of last week's games, offering expert analysis, yeah, I said it, player insight, and memorable moments. I am the man with the 101 degree fever, Jordan Pryor, and with me are the rising stars of the podcasting industry. The man who only had 4 less yards than George Kittle on Sunday, Danny Weber, and the man who lost us our betting sponsorships, Tanner Vinsky. Say hello to the people, y'all.
Hey, hey.
Hello.
The rundown of today's podcast is very simple. Today, we're only talking about the Super Bowl. We're going to recap it. It's going to be a little bit of a shorter pod, since that's really all that there is to talk about. And then we will follow up with just a little bit of spicy news of what we plan to do for the offseason as well. So as always, we ask you rate us 5 stars on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, share it with your friends, and follow us on social media. We are at @4thdown_pod on Twitter, or X if you're into that kind of thing, and at Fourth Down Fiasco on TikTok and Instagram. With that, it's 4th down and goal to go, the last 4th down of the 2023-2024 NFL season. Are we going to win today, y'all?
Do we have Christian McCaffrey or not?
All I heard was if Christian McCaffrey.
Do we have Christian McCaffrey or not?
Hey, there we go.
There we go. Fumbles happen, but a lot of yards were gained. But let's dive into the Super Bowl, where the Kansas City Chiefs beat the San Francisco 49ers 25-22 in a thrilling overtime game. Personal biases aside, I thought this was a damn good Super Bowl.
I'm in the same boat. I really liked just how close and competitive it was. There was a lot of back and forth. I mean, really, it felt like anybody's game going into the fourth and overtime, which is great. I mean, there was a little bit of a lead in the third quarter, but it always kind of felt like that wasn't going to last. And yeah, I mean, just seeing Patrick Mahomes on the final drive in an overtime just further shows how ahead of the rest of the competition he is at quarterback. And when you watched those last 2 drives, it really felt like, the Chiefs are walking away with this one.
Yeah, I think we were all sitting there.
Just keep it close,
Yeah, we were all sitting there and we're like, the 49ers kicked the field goal instead of getting a touchdown. There were 2 minutes left on the clock or something like that. We all just kind of looked at each other. We're like, all right, good game.
Yeah, you just kind of knew. I mean, Patty was making it happen through the air. He was making it happen with the run. I mean, he gouged them for some pretty good runs, especially in like the fourth and in overtime. I think about that. What was that, 4th and 3 in overtime, where he just took it and ran and got like a good 15, 20 yards. So I mean, Patty was doing the damn thing.
Yeah, he was doing what he needed to do.
He was the Chiefs' leading rusher, so he definitely was contributing.
I think it's funny looking back at last week's pod. Our keys to victory for both teams. Neither team listened to us. Pacheco did not have a good game. Christian McCaffrey had a good receiving game. I don't think he had a particularly great rushing game. He had a couple of big runs. He was great in the pass game, in the short pass game. Yeah. But I just they didn't listen to us, the experts.
Yeah, the so-called experts did not get listened to.
Yeah, and that was the problem. Granted, I do want to say I was the one who said that Kansas was going to win.
Hey, I said the Chiefs were going to win 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, and you cheered for the 49ers the entire game.
Just because I cheered for the 49ers didn't mean I didn't pick the Chiefs to win. I just didn't want them to win.
Weird flex, brother. Weird flex. So
I guess I'm the only one that's wrong. All right.
You're the only one that's wrong. And you cost
that's
us
what you get for having
every sponsorship.
Yeah. We were right there. You just had to get one more game right, and Bet Online or somebody was going to be like, "Hey, we want to sponsor y'all." But now that's in the trash. So thanks, Tanner. We appreciate you for that.
Yep.
It's okay. It keeps me up at night.
Yeah, it should.
I'm sure it does.
How many times did you say don't bet against Patty Mahomes, and then you said, you know what? In the biggest game of the season, I'm going to bet against Patty Mahomes.
Never said I was smart. Said I was an expert, but I never said I was smart.
That's true.
But I saw an interesting stat. So,
okay,
in the 3 years the Chiefs have won the Super Bowl, their offensive line have been one of the most penalized offensive line units in the NFL. However, in all 3 Super Bowls that the Chiefs have won, do you know how many combined holding penalties there were in all 3 games?
0.
Not a single holding call. I forgot to make it again. 0 holding calls on the most penalized offensive line in the league.
The bet's gonna be, the bit's gonna be great once you get that tinfoil hat going.
That's gonna.
I definitely did see a couple of replays where I was like, "Oh, that's a wild penalty right there that wasn't called."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, I will say on the flip side of things, since we're talking about offensive lines, Trent Williams was getting absolutely torched the entire game. As a Cowboys fan, I love to see that. I'm just out here drinking the haterade. But, Trent Williams was not about that life on Sunday. I saw multiple times where, you had some corners that were able to get around him. I saw, I forget which of the linebackers it was for KC, but I saw someone actually truck him to get some pressure on Brock Purdy, and wasn't his best game. The holes weren't quite there for McCaffrey. I think that's the reason why he was averaging less than 4 yards a carry. That 49ers offensive line didn't look quite as good as they normally.
Maybe that's why they didn't run the ball at all in the third quarter with their 9 plays that they decided to run.
Yeah, you have the best running back in the NFL, and you have a lead, and you're not going to try and kill time to any degree. No. It's crazy.
Especially what we saw them do in overtime. They only used McCaffrey in overtime.
Yeah, and by that point, it was well, duh, this is what you're going to do. Whereas I feel like they abandoned the script too early, and then whenever they should have abandoned the script is when they didn't. So I think Kyle Shanahan gets a little too into his own head sometimes, and I think that the 3 Super Bowl losses that he has are really starting to affect some of the harder decisions that you have to make over the course of the game.
Yeah.
it's similar in a way to like whenever we were examining how Dan Campbell made all the wrong decisions in the Lions loss. It kind of felt similar where it was like you should have done the exact opposite in every situation that you made a big call in almost. So
it didn't seem like they used Ayuk or Kittle that much either. Like I don't remember either of them really.
Kittle had 4 yards.
Yeah. Like
his only big play was called back.
Yeah. And then like Ayuk, your fastest player on the field, doesn't touch the ball really. I don't know what his stat line was, but he didn't seem like a big factor in the game at all.
3 for 49. Christian McCaffrey was their leading receiver.
Wow.
Ayuk actually had more yards than I thought he did. It didn't even feel like he had that many.
You have an offensive wide receiver core of Samuel, Ayuk, Kittle, and Jennings, and Christian McCaffrey is your leading wide receiver?
I mean, it is CMC.
Still.
But, yeah, no, I mean, still,
The Ray McLeod disrespect is insane.
My bad, sorry. And their punt returner, Ray McLeod, who did not clear the punting area when he needed to and let the punt hit off the back of the foot.
I mean, a big reason why they lost the game. That was a huge swing.
Yeah.
Yeah, the turnovers. I mean, I saw something crazy. The Kansas City Chiefs fumbled 5 times and recovered 4 of them. That is crazy. Nuts. That is nuts.
Yeah. You have to play perfect against Kansas City, and the 49ers did not.
Correct.
And that's a big thing that, people are going to harp on with Kyle Shanahan a lot. I mean, yes, the way he's been handling leads and the way he manages games typically fall apart towards the latter half of the game, and that's definitely a trend that needs to stop. But, I mean, he's lost 3 Super Bowls, and it was 1 to Tom Brady and 2 to Patrick Mahomes. And when, you're a great coach and you keep running into the best 2 coaching quarterback duos of all time every time you make it to the big dance, I mean, it's not excusable for Shanahan to not be able to conquer those moments, but it makes sense that he hasn't been able to thus far.
Yeah.
I mean, and it further perpetuates just how good this combo of Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes are. I mean, it's like watching Tom Brady and Bill Belichick again in a lot of ways. I mean, we said it like when we saw Patrick Mahomes in the ball on that final drive in the fourth, we were like, all right, yeah, they're going to tie this game up. And then as soon as he got it again after the 49ers kicked the field goal in overtime, we're like, yeah, Chiefs are winning this. I mean, like, there's no – if you give Mahomes the opportunity to win, he's going to win.
Yeah,
the only way you beat Mahomes is if you don't allow him an opportunity to win the game.
Yeah, I don't know what Kyle Shanahan was thinking in overtime. First, you take the ball – and you didn't tell your team about the new rules. That's weird. And then you're marching down the field and you have 4th and 3 at your own 7-yard line and you kick a field goal to give the ball back to Patrick Mahomes.
Well, it's not the 49ers' fault. I mean, they learned the overtime rules at the same time as Ice Spice. So
that's true. But Kyle Shanahan.
But okay. Sorry, Danny, just real quick. The fact that all 300 million fans that are watching the Super Bowl knew the overtime rules, but they didn't, it's
crazy.
Even the ref was confused. He was like, you said you wanted the ball?
You wanted it first.
Okay.
Question mark.
It's like,
I also don't understand how they were like, it's one of those things too where even with the old overtime rules, if they would have played out the exact same way, they still would have lost,
Yeah.
In the old overtime rules, you need the touchdown to win on the first drive. Yeah. So settling for the field goal, you still knew, Patrick Mahomes drives his ball down, we lose.
Yeah.
And I mean, that didn't change with the new overtime rules.
Well, if they had the old rules, would Kyle Shanahan be like, you know what, let's go for it on 4th and 3. Let's risk that touchdown.
Yeah, maybe.
Who knows?
Dude,
you're still giving Mahomes the opportunity to win the game.
It's the Super Bowl. You got to go for it.
You should put it in your own hands. Like, you're going to lose if you don't make it. You have a shot at winning if you do. Just go for it.
Didn't Andy Reid say at the end of the game that if the 49ers scored, they were going to go down and go for the 2-point?
Yeah, they said that. They said that before week 1. They're like, this is the overtime rules that we're going to follow. Is if we get the ball second, we're going for 2.
Yeah.
Respect.
the thing is with the Chiefs, they're going to convert that 2-point.
Oh, they have some stupid play that will just work to perfection. Travis Kelce will do a flip over Patrick Mahomes
shield
while
somebody.
catching the ball.
Yeah.
I don't know. A big fallout of the Super Bowl loss by the 49ers, though, is that Steve Wilkes got fired. I don't know if you guys saw that this morning.
I did. Yeah. I hope that the Cowboys make a move there. That'd be nice. I'd be okay with that personally.
But it's one of those things with the 49ers loss where, we were mentioning it earlier. It's just that this is starting to feel like the window's closing for the 49ers. Mm-hmm. I mean, next year they probably still got a shot. I don't think anybody's really coming off the books. That's too important. I don't think this is going to be a huge overturn. But I mean, after this, then you're getting into, do we extend Brock Purdy? And then we're putting a bunch of money there, and then more pieces are going to start falling out. And, I think next year, I would not be shocked to see the 49ers back in the Super Bowl at all. But after that, it's going to be really hard to keep thinking that they're going to get theirs, because we always say that after the end of every Super Bowl loser. I mean, we even said it to Philly last year. We're like, Philly's going to make it back. He'll be fine. And look at Philly now. Yeah. Jalen Carter's making death threats towards 49ers players.
Well, Mr. Random Stat Guy over here. Mr. Random Stat Guy over here. Any quarterback that has lost their first Super Bowl has never gone on to win a Super Bowl. So that is bad news for the Eagles and Bengals fans, and now the 49ers fans. So
Lamar Jackson's playing 4D chess. Just don't make it to the Super Bowl and he can't lose it.
I was actually just about to say that about Dak. I was like, we're good.
You just have to win the first one.
Dak can still win the Super Bowl, guys.
Yeah, he can still win the Super Bowl because we've never been.
Wow. But
I mean, honestly, though, the clock for the 49ers is ticking, because as soon as Purdy is off the rookie deal, he's going to command a top 5 salary. Because, I mean, every quarterback that puts up, top 10 stats, by the time paycheck time rolls around, they're getting paid. And we see that every year. There's always quarterbacks that you just look at and you're like, really, you paid him how much? But that's just what the market for quarterbacks is. And so once Brock Purdy is asking for $45 million a year, which it's not that crazy to ask for these days, you're not going to be able to have the same level of talent on the field. Because right now, I mean, you've got guys we could list a ton of great players on the 49ers, like Bosa and Chase Young and Debo and CMC and all these other guys who command a ton of money. And once you start paying Brock that kind of money, at least 2 of those dudes you're not going to be able to pay.
Well, here's a question.
So
if we can see that in Shanahan's system, that you just kind of need a pocket passer just to be able to throw those 5-10 yard throws, and if you can throw big, do they not re-sign Purdy and just draft or pick up a quarterback that can just sit in the pocket and throw 10 yards?
You could
keep
argue
the money
that,
somewhere else?
But think about the 49ers before they got Purdy. Like,
they went to the Super Bowl.
But think of the quarterback play between Kaepernick and Brock Purdy. It has been rough for the 49ers.
Garoppolo didn't play horribly.
But Garoppolo was dog water.
But he got them winning records.
Yeah, but Shanahan's a magician.
And that's what I'm saying.
I don't think that you want to go back to risking we're going to a Super Bowl with Jimmy Garoppolo. You don't want to put yourself in that position. Because, again, I don't think Brock Purdy's a top 10 guy. Yeah. I think he's a fringe top 15 guy in the league.
Yeah.
And that's better than what they've had. And I don't think you give that up if you're the 49ers, because QB purgatory is tough. I mean, think about the Broncos over the last 10 years since Peyton Manning retired.
The Browns
think about
since
the Bears,
1984.
their entire
the Jets,
history. The Jets, the Browns. I mean, even the Colts since Andrew Luck has retired. I mean, now it seems like it's finally going to work out with Anthony Richardson. But again, that's too early to say.
Yeah.
I mean,
Texans pre-CJ Stroud.
Yeah, well, they had Deshaun for a little while when he was actually.
He took him to the playoffs.
Before he was doing illegal things.
Don't disrespect Brock Osweiler like that one. Come on.
Or they had Osweiler, and didn't they have
TJ Yates, baby?
TJ Yates.
Yeah.
Mills.
Ryan. What was his name? Was it Ryan Mallett?
Something like that.
Who was? Oh no, Matt Schaub. Matt Schaub was their best quarterback before Deshaun.
Oh yeah, I forgot about Schaub. He was real up and down.
I think
if you could figure out what week he would go off, he was great in fantasy. But it was either you got 30 points from him or you got like -5. You know, there was not a whole lot of in between for Schaub. But yeah, you know, that really just leads to a lot of questions for the 49ers because, Tanner, I think that you're right as far as you pick a quarterback who you think's going to pan out and then they don't, and it's brutal to recover from that. And, you know, it takes a good 3, 4, 5 years because you always want to stick by your pick, and organizations I feel like are a little slower to move on from quarterbacks than they are from other positions. Because there's so much chemistry that comes from it.
What about Trey Lance?
Think about how lucky they got. Well, that's what I'm saying. Think about how lucky they got that they got Brock Purdy. Because imagine if they didn't get Brock Purdy and they took that Trey Lance pick, and they're probably starting Trey Lance right now and sitting there and being like, it's got to click. Hopefully this is going to work. We're going to go until the end of his rookie contract. And he might just be terrible.
Or they could have played Sam Darnold.
I wish we would have seen more of Trey Lance. I wish we could see Trey Lance in the NFL. I'm not saying he's going to be good or anything, but I just wish we saw more.
But if he didn't get a shot in San Francisco, like that's...
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Like, Trey Lance probably sucks.
Well, he might just play a different style of play, too, though.
They wanted Sam Darnold as a backup more than him. Like...
But Zach Wilson's still quarterback? Like, is he worse than Zach
Trey
Wilson?
Lance is probably better. Trey Lance is probably better than Zach Wilson, but
that is a low bar.
Jared Hall.
The Jets are like, I don't know. The Jets are just like actually inept, you know. Like I can't really like, you know, you can't look at the Jets and be like, man, this guy's starting. Like, it's like the Jets will start the fucking like subway driver, you know. They'll start the guy that like fucking like runs the trains in New York, and they're like, yo, this guy.
Great.
I saw him at like a barbecue the other week. He could throw it like a solid 10 yards. We could probably start him, you know. Like that's the Jets organization's like FO. Like that's how they operate.
That's true.
Oh yeah, the bodega roster. The bodega roster. I think something else that kind of went a little under the radar from this game. You know, obviously Patty had a real good game through the air, but man, he was making some plays with his feet. And you know, I think about like that. What was it, 4th and 3 during overtime? And him just taking off like that was huge. Yeah. And he was their leading rusher, I believe. Pacheco was ass. Pacheco was absolute ass the whole game.
He had a couple good plays, but then he fumbled in the red zone, which ended up not really hurting.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, after that massive, I mean, that was a crazy pass between two defenders. And honestly, Patty's lucky that I don't know who the underneath defender was, but if he would have actually like had his head on on a swivel, probably would have gotten there and at least tipped it or something. But yeah, you get to like the 7-yard line and then you fumble in the Super Bowl. You cannot do that.
Well, the 49ers are the same thing.
But he got bailed out.
Yeah, the 49ers is the exact same thing.
Yeah, the difference is, you know, whenever CMC fumbles, Purdy can't really bail him out the same way that if Pacheco fumbles, you got the best quarterback in the league to bail you out.
Yeah.
There's levels.
Wouldn't it be nice?
Wouldn't it be nice?
Yeah.
But yeah, overall, I thought it was a great Super Bowl. Even aside from the actual game itself, I thought that the game was exciting. But the commercials were a little bit funnier this year. I feel like in recent years the commercials haven't been very good at the Super Bowl, and this year there were some funny ones. I loved the Usher halftime show. Y'all saw me. I was out there singing all the songs.
SpongeBob and Patrick were pretty good commentators.
Oh, dude, the Nickelodeon call was great. Way better than Romo and Nance.
Fire lines, making fun of Leonardo DiCaprio. Making fun of Texas.
Or saying they need a map to the end zone.
I forgot.
Firmly
about
grasp it.
Firmly grasp it.
He just fumbled.
No, the Nickelodeon broadcast was one of the greatest things I've ever witnessed, and it was way better than it's. It might sound ridiculous to say, but it was like actually just like better like commentary and like importance to the game than like Jim Nantz and Tony Romo's one was.
Doodlebop kept coming on the screen.
I don't know if you saw the final call for Tony Romo in like when the Chiefs got that like overtime touchdown. Tony Romo was like mumbling about some random shit.
Yeah.
They're trying to call the play as the play's running, and then like he kind of like is talking a little bit as McCole Hardman gets the overtime touchdown. Jim Nantz is doing his best to try to save it.
Yeah.
And then he just starts going on about how you're looking at your future three-peat Kansas City Chiefs like for next year. Like already saying that the Chiefs are going to the Super Bowl next year.
Yeah. Like Jim Nantz was like, jackpot, Kansas City, blah, blah, blah. And then he paused, like, because he normally does that, lets the crowd take over, let you feel like you're there. And then Tony Romo's like, that's the Kansas City special. He's like, they drew that one up. That was deep in their bag. And it's like, dude, be quiet.
And if you watch the Nickelodeon broadcast, you see SpongeBob and Patrick announcing it, and they're like hyped up, and it's awesome.
Yeah, they're lit. They're like, SpongeBob's like touchdown, and like,
and there's the slime going and everything. It's like way better experience.
Yeah.
I can never watch the Super Bowl the same way from now on. It has to be the Nickelodeon Super Bowl.
As long as Tony Romo's not announcing.
Yeah, hopefully Tom Romo's out of John next season. We'll see.
But yeah, if the Nickelodeon Super Bowl's back next year.
Oh yeah, run me that again. Fingers crossed. Yeah, I don't think Romo probably won't lose his job until Dak Prescott becomes a color commentator, and then he'll probably take Romo's job. It's the circle of life.
Do you know what's sad? Greg Olson is losing his commentator job, and he's really good at it.
And Greg Olson's good.
Yeah, in my opinion, he's the best player to commentator that there is, at least right now. We haven't heard Brady yet. But
no, but I don't know how you sign yes, he's the greatest quarterback, but how do you sign him to a $275 million deal before letting him even commentate a game? Like, what if he just can't do it?
It'll bring them money somehow, some way.
I don't know. They're gonna watch football anyways. People don't tune in because of the commentators. People turn away because of the commentators.
Yeah, that's why we watch the Nickelodeon Super Bowl instead. Oh my gosh, can you hear my dogs?
Yeah. Oh no.
Yeah,
they're having fun.
Yeah. I'm going to mute my mic.
Yeah, go for it.
What other words do you have to say, Tanner, about the game?
I don't know. I thought I liked it a lot, honestly. Since post 2000, I'm not sure if it cracks top 5, but I think it's definitely in the conversation. I don't think it's top 3. I think as much as I hated 28-3 because I could not stand the Patriots at the time, that easily has to be number 1 since 2000.
Yeah, one of the Giants ones has to be up there too. Just that helmet catch and that sideline catch.
The helmet catch, yeah.
I would say 2007 Giants beating the undefeated Patriots. I mean, that was crazy.
That's wild.
Yeah.
I think there's an argument for the Malcolm Butler interception game as well. That was a crazy back into the Super Bowl. My personal favorite, just super biased, but I think was also a really good game, was the Cardinals-Steelers Super Bowl. I mean, you had a 99-yard pick six in that game. Larry Fitzgerald looked like the most dominant wide receiver I've ever seen. Like, it was one of the best playoff performances by a wide receiver I've seen in my life. Like, Larry Fitzgerald was just torching the Steelers. You had the final drive by Big Ben and the San Antonio Holmes catch, just crazy. Like that game was insane.
The Saints.
So that's another one.
Saints Colts with the onside kick to begin the second half was a good game.
That's a pretty cool one too. So I don't know if I probably doesn't crack top 5, but I think you could make an argument for top 10. Since 2000.
I give it. I'd rate it like an 8 out of 10. It was a hell of a lot better than that 13-3 Patriots over Rams Super Bowl from 2019. I'll tell you that much. That
was the worst
sucked.
halftime show ever, too.
Yeah, we were sitting
gosh,
there,
yeah.
dorm, Tanner and I, just watching it, wanting to scoop our eyeballs out.
And it's so bad. So Sarah doesn't like football, like, at all. And that was the first Super Bowl she ever watched. And I had like begged her to go to the Super Bowl party. I was like, the Super Bowl is so much fun. You know, I was like, it's always the best game of the year. And then, it was 13-3 and the most boring Super Bowl ever. And she refuses to watch another Super Bowl since.
What was it, 10-3 at halftime for this one? Like,
it was definitely a defensive battle.
It was 0-0 after the first quarter.
But at least the first half was like interesting defense. It wasn't just like a punt fest. Like there was actually kind of big plays happening. There was
there were fumbles and
like it was an interesting defensive battle. And then it kind of I would say the only weak spot from this Super Bowl would be the third quarter. Like the third quarter didn't really have anything.
I feel like I feel like we blinked and we missed the third quarter.
Yeah.
Like I don't remember the third quarter at all.
But the fourth quarter and overtime were amazing.
Fourth quarter was great.
Yeah.
What do you guys? And also another big part to mention is that there wasn't any ref controversy in the Super Bowl, which I feel like hasn't happened in a minute.
I am shocked that they did not call pass interference when they threw to Travis Kelce in that end zone with a minute left. On that 3rd and 8 play or whatever, when they threw it to the front corner of the end zone. Mm-hmm. And I think it was, I forget what linebacker was on him, but he was face guarding him, so he didn't even have his head turned around. I'm shocked there was not a flag thrown.
With how many with how many missed holding calls there were on the Chiefs' offensive line this game, I think that more than made up for it. It all worked out. The script went exactly how the NFL wanted it. It ended up working out.
But I mean, comparatively to a lot of the recent Super Bowls, I mean, this was a pretty well officiated game.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh yeah, that too. Yeah, it was for the most part well officiated.
I mean, think about the controversy of the last Super Bowl between Chiefs and Eagles.
The last two Super Bowls,
way more blow-ups. Yeah.
The last two Super Bowls ended with a weird pass interference call at the end of the game.
Was the Super Bowl before last year? Was that Chiefs Rams? Or sorry, was that Rams Bengals?
Yeah, with that phantom Logan Wilson hold against Cooper Kupp.
Yeah, but they also got away with that face mask.
No, yeah. But I'm saying with like a minute left on the clock, there were two defensive holding calls that were non-existent. That really solidified the game for the offense. But yeah, that face mask 75-yard touchdown right after halftime, whole different story.
Yeah, that one was crazy. That was like an insane missed call. Like I can't believe that.
Yeah,
like that happened.
Yeah, it was against Jalen Ramsey, so it's okay. No one likes Jalen Ramsey.
Well, cool. Any last thoughts from the Super Bowl before we tell the folks what we're gonna do in the off season?
I pray they don't three-peat.
Oh, the Swifties would be unbearable.
That would put them at 5, wouldn't it?
It would.
Because aren't they at 4 now?
Yeah.
They won 3 and they had the one. It was like Super Bowl 3 or something.
Yeah, Super Bowl 3.
Yeah.
So that put them at 5. Dude, that would tie them with the 49ers. Wow.
Yeah.
Dude, just 5 years ago, the Chiefs had 1. And now they're... Oh my God,
dude! This run is insane, and
I'd like to say we've never seen anything like it, but we have in our lifetime, which is kind of.
I was about to say we literally just did. Yeah, it's a real passing of the torch right now.
It's just some bullshit that happened in the AFC twice, you know. Like, I can't, like
the one time Cincinnati is good in my lifetime, and we have the 2 greatest quarterbacks to go against. Sick.
It's like I don't know, like. Could this be happening?
Why can't it be the
Falcons?
Cowboys? You know, like why can't it be us?
Why can't it be the Jets?
Honestly, dude, I would.
I don't want any more.
I don't give a crap about that. I would love to see the Jets three-peat. That would be so.
What about the Panthers?
I would buy a jersey.
Dude,
same with them. Browns, any of the shit teams, if any of them were to three-peat, I would buy a jersey.
I'm not talking Browns.
I said it, Tanner. I said the Browns.
Browns might get relocated before
we might have a 2-person podcast after this. We might go to the original Fourth Down Fiasco.
Dude, I'm telling you, the Browns 3P, I am the biggest elf fan on the planet.
Yeah.
'Cause I am not watching the NFL.
And on that note, Tanner is gone.
Hey, make sure you save that recording real quick. Well, then I'll just
Tanner's back.
Before anything else screws up. Let's let the people know what we're going to do for the off season, so we can end this and hopefully have a file to be able to upload.
I'd like to say beforehand, we've had a lot of technical difficulties.
Yes, for those of y'all who have made it this far, this is our second go around, and
You're lucky we have an
halfway through
episode.
the last show. Yeah, there almost wasn't a Super Bowl episode.
I don't even know what happened to Tanner right there. He just disappeared.
My internet's fine too. Like, I'm looking at everything. Like,
You just went black.
And there can only be one black person on this.
Got summoned.
Yeah. And there can only be one black person on this podcast. We can't have you going black too, Tanner. Come on. But anyways, before we derail too much, in the off season, we are very excited to announce that we're going to be interviewing the fans, the most important part of every team, the fans, and we want to just build a community. And so, Danny, do you want to talk a little bit more about kind of what we have lined up?
You'll see a teaser on Saturday, what it is actually called, but it's just. We're bringing all 32 teams into this, and we'll have a correspondent for each team. And we'll just sit down and talk to them about how they're feeling about their team, what they want to see in the upcoming year, and what they want to do in the offseason. Tanner, anything I'm missing without giving it away?
No, I mean, we've talked about this, and we kind of moved in this direction a little bit already with the mailbag episode we did, but we want to kind of shift gears a little bit. You know, you can find a million other podcasts that review every game, talk about what's going on, but we want to call
themselves experts.
We
can't
are
fucking predict the Super Bowl correctly. So it's going to be more interesting. I mean, we're going to have a lot more fan interaction. We're going to be bringing people on that we can interview and talk to them about, you know, how they feel about their teams, what do they want to see, and they're going to have way better analysis for teams that maybe we don't watch, because realistically, I don't know about you guys, how much Panthers football are you watching?
I was literally just about to say, I don't watch the Panthers.
How much Cardinals football are we watching? You know, there's certain teams that aren't doing that well, or certain teams that are maybe fringe playoff teams, or teams that go out in the first round that you're not going to really pay a whole lot of attention to. So
I think even with some of those
insights.
Yeah, even with some of the better teams too. I mean, I didn't keep up with Kansas City much this past season just because it's Kansas City, and you know they're now the 3-time Super Bowl champs, but at the time they were the 2-time, you know, recent years Super Bowl champs, whatever. And you know, I didn't really keep up with them because it's like I'll see them in the playoffs, I'll see what they can do, and so yeah, being able to just bring people in and just being around a lot of people who like to watch ball. That's the name of the game. We love ball.
Just a civil conversation. We're not here to argue. We're just here to talk. We want a community.
Yep. Yeah. So.
And we did our first in-person interview while I was there. So
we do have an in-person interview coming up in a couple weeks.
And I know that I said this on Twitter, but I will say it again on the pod. We will have former NFL players on the pod. Guaranteed. Bookmark it.
Lock it in.
Lock it in.
There might even be some bling involved.
If there's some other former players, you can always reach us at fourthdownfiasco@gmail.com.
Or add us on.
Thank you for the plug.
Yeah. Or tweet at us at fourthdown_pod. Or even if you're not a former player and you want to talk about your team, and if we don't have a correspondent for your team yet, you can be on our podcast.
Yeah, and even as the seasons progress and stuff, like I'm sure we'll bring plenty of people, even as the season is going on, to talk about their teams and stuff. Yeah. So you know, if we already have a correspondent for the off season, that doesn't mean that you won't ever get to be on the show. We'll definitely, if you want to be on, we will find a way to bring you on, because again, we just want to talk to people who love ball. So. Well, cool. Then that takes us to the end of our show. Thank y'all so much for hanging out with us. It's been a fun season. It's been a joy to be with these fellas talking football for a third of the season because we started a little late.
Yeah.
Next year we'll start from preseason all the way through, and we'll hopefully have all of our technical issues done by then. But definitely keep up with us in the off season. Again, with the interviews, we're also going to be talking about UFL, ELF.
The ELF, baby.
Oh, the ELF, baby. So, but until then, we will see y'all sometime soon, I guess.
See you next week for our new.
Woohoo!
We might be rebranding, kind of. So look out. Peace.
Adios, friends.
Peace.
Are you looking for a podcast to advertise your business? Well, you're in luck. Here at the Fourth Down Fiasco, we're looking for show sponsors. Whether you want to be a platinum sponsor and be mentioned at the beginning and end of every episode, or you just want a simple 30 or 60-second ad, we got you covered. If you're interested in having a spot on our show, you can reach us at fourthdownfiasco@gmail.com. That's fourthdownfiasco@gmail.com. We are excited to hear from you and even more excited to have you on the show. Join the Fiasco family now.
Well, I like school, and I like football, and I'm gonna keep doing them both because they make me feel good.